I'm going to give you a little history from what I'm going to call myself a hidden Native American perspective. Okay? White man came from Europe, but white man didn't stay in Europe. He went to places like Africa and then claimed he discovered it, to Australia and claimed he discovered it, to America and claimed he discovered it, to places all over the world claiming they discovered it. The reason why they used the wording they discovered it is because that gave them permission, gave them an excuse to either commit genocide upon the people who already inhabited that land, but also an excuse and an acceptance to be able to take some of those people, like from Africa, and imprison them and take them to places like America and enslave them, and take them to places like Europe and enslave them. And in a lot of these places, there are white statues abound to glorify those who discovered the land, who abused the people. Some of them, like Lincoln, may have been good to the African American people, but horrendous to the Native American people. Do we praise him for how he treated the African Americans by freeing them? Not necessarily because he cared about them, but because it was a political move, to be quite honest. Or do we chastise him for how he treated the Native American people and what he did with their land? Which one is it? You want your statues to be able to have as history of your white man's time on any land. Then when you're showing a Confederate general's statue, you need to put him in his Confederate uniform and put the truth about that person. When you're showing somebody like General E. Lee, you need to show him in his uniform with his slave people next to him being abused. You need to show that. Yes, there were those out there who freed their slaves, including one of my ancestors on my white side, which I do not like to claim right now. On my white side, one of my ancestors, a man by the name of Charles Barkley, tried to free his slaves while he was alive. But he was advised against it by his lawyers because of what would have been done to him for doing it. So what this man did is, upon his death, he made sure there was money there for whoever wanted their freedom could take it. And he made sure that there was a way that these people could be secretly taken out of the South and given their freedom papers. And he gave all his slaves their freedom papers. He may not have been able to do it while he was alive, but he made sure it was done after he died. And there are some of our leaders and our forefathers of our nation who did these kind of things. The thing is we need to find them and make statues of them. We need to find who the first fighter pilot was who fought for America in World War II and put his statue up. That would be excellent. We need to find out who some of the Asian people were who worked on the railroads, and many of them were killed by white men. Find who some of those were and put statues up of them. Or how about of the Native American people who helped the Army of the United States of America to win a war? And the African American people who helped the United States of America to win a war. Why not find the Windtalkers and put statues of them up? Name schools and government buildings after them. Let the people have something to be proud of. All the people of all colors to be proud of. Than watching us walk around in shame of who we want our history to be remembered by. And how we want it remembered as a whitewashed history. There are great people of every race in this nation. Every race, every creed, every generation, every history center, every historical movement. There are great people in this country. We need to start holding them up as representing our country, the best of our country. Stop representing the worst and whitewashing it. It's not right. My grandfather didn't deserve to die not being able to tell everybody proudly he was a Native American. Yes, I know, in the 20s, they got their citizenship. But they didn't really get the right to vote. They got their right to be treated equal to an African American when it came to their voting rights. That's what they got. And whether you were African American or Native American, whether you're Puerto Rican or Californian, if you're a citizen, considered a citizen of the United States of America, and you are not given the right to vote, you are not given the right to have a say in your government, you are not truly a citizen. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Because a true American citizen is given the right to vote. A true American citizen is given the right to have a voice in their government. A true American citizen has the right to have a part in the decisions made for their country. And as long as you hold that back from one person you call a citizen, you are not truly letting them be a citizen. Give everybody their rights. Everybody. If they're considered a citizen of the United States of America, then they need their rights. If they're living on land that is considered land of the United States of America, I don't care if it's territory, if it's a state, if it's whatever it is. If it's considered part of America, and America has an obligation to make laws and to protect them in time of war, then they need to be given full rights. Full rights to vote. To have a part in what happens in this country. Because what happens in this country affects them too. And if you are affected by the decisions of our government, you should have a right to have a say in what happens in our government. And that's all there is to it. And if you can't see that, if you can't understand that, then maybe you need to stop. Take a check. Take a look at who you really are. Because white man didn't discover shit. They conquered. They murdered. They genocide. Their way all the way across this world. And they've got a lot to make up for. And maybe with what we do here in America, that could be a good start.